So I just wanted to introduce, this is Hillary Robinson. This is our new lower school division head. So she's just going to welcome everybody.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being here. I know that you all probably have a ton of stuff to do back at school. Jessica has impressed me so much with all she has done with your group. I keep looking at all kinds of things that she keeps bringing to the table, so I know you are having a good time. Thank you for being here, and I hope you love what the kids show you today. It's kind of cool.
Thank you. Thank you. So today Megan Michael is my partner in crime, I guess. She is our lower school science teacher. She does kindergarten through 4th this year. Next year she'll be doing 3 through 5 science and robotics. So she's going to be working with me. Actually, she's doing the bulk of it because she's kind of taken over the robotics. I still do some of it, but that's her passion. And she came from Whitehaven Elementary and led a really strong robotics program there. And so we're going to talk about some of the changes we've implemented this year because of that. Just a couple of things before we get started. Our network is SMES, and the password should work, hopefully, Turkey Tango. And if that doesn't work, let me know, and I'll give you the other password.
Could you make that document editable? Right now it's going on.
Well, it has last times or some other times attendance already on it. Because I just went to the attendance
Just
thing.
go down to the very bottom of the attendance and click on February.
Oh, okay.
You'll see a
Are you
tab.
talking about the minutes or the attendance? Okay. We're going to, like I said, do something a little different. We're going to have some students coming in and demonstrating, and then Megan's going to talk, and I'll talk as we go throughout. And then we have Shelly, who is the VEX rep, and she's going to do a presentation talking about the VEX robotics and for the lower, middle, and upper school students. So we'll get to the regular business here shortly, but I have, are y'all ready? So the first thing we wanted to show, we do Lego robotics. It's been around for a while. We had the original kits. We've had them for quite a while. And then we've now been transitioning into the 2.0. How many of you probably have them? Anybody have them at their school that we do 2.0? I know you have them.
One.
Okay.
Just got to play with.
So this is our first year to be using it. We have 2 third graders here that are going to demonstrate. Megan, you want to talk about, do you want to connect it? You got it?
Okay, so in 3rd grade, we have been using the Lego We Do 2.0 in science class. And so it's a really great program to implement into science, or if you're doing a STEM class, because a lot of the projects go with science and a lot of the science curriculum. So what these girls built, and I don't know what the best way to do to see.
I'm gonna put it on the iPad and put it up. So I'm gonna disconnect you and connect me.
So what these girls built was a tadpole. And what's a little bit different about the Lego We Do versus the Lego We Do 2.0 is that it goes a little bit farther with engineering design. And so they had to make the tadpole into a frog. And so they actually still have the little tail on there right now, just so they could show you what it looked like before, but they had to actually add the legs. And so they have a little program to show you all. So they programmed it, and they built it. It's a little bit different than the We Do 2.0 because the 2.0 you just build it straight out of the box. This one takes it a little bit farther.
So y'all want to explain a little bit what you did?
Well, what we did is we put the hourglass.
Let me put your program up for them to see. It's going to be a lot of shuffling with connecting today to show so y'all can see everything.
And the Lego We Do 2.0 has a great curriculum online.
So there's their program up there that you can see.
What we did is we put the hourglass, and the hourglass makes it move multiple times instead of putting a little switch thing. And the turn makes it go. It usually makes it turn, but this one doesn't turn.
Speak up a little bit so they can hear you in the back.
And then these color things is you press the bottom and you can choose any color. And we chose pink and number 1 and number 5. And the X makes it stop. So it would, if it was going and then we put the X, it would stop.
Look at them when you're talking so they can hear.
So the X makes it stop moving. And then what we did for the legs is we took this black piece.
Okay.
And then we took this green piece and we put it through the last one.
So this is the part that doesn't have any kind of instructions for them. So they had to make this up on their own.
Is it one of the open-ended projects?
Yes, it's an
okay.
open-ended
Say what
project.
we did.
So they had like the
They
one-
built the tadpole,
okay,
and
and
then
then
they had to change it from a tadpole to an adult frog.
okay. So I saw they had guided, and then they had open, like 3 different types. Is that one of the?
I think this one is a guided one
Okay,
because it guides them through building it, and then they have to actually make the
Put it in.
adult frog.
okay. Awesome. I mean, I just peeked at it this week for the first
It's
time.
in there.
so
And then we put it in. Oops. And then once we put it in, we put this gray piece that makes it stay. And then we put the gray piece on. So now the arms will stay on.
Do you mean to press the program to run?
Thank you, sir.
It went back to here. Which one's your program?
One.
Got it right.
All the way down.
This one, 1?
Yes. Wait, we need to. Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Did that do what you needed it to?
Yes. We did this thing.
Okay. All right, you wanna go up front and let them all see, so you can show. You wanna add anything about the?
I can show you the
You
worksheet.
wanna go back?
did other students in your class come up with other leg ideas?
Yes.
They did. Did you still like yours the best after watching everyone else?
So this is a worksheet that I made. You can see behind the girls. So I didn't really do a lot for them. I just kind of facilitated. They went through this worksheet and it told them what to do. So build the model, step 1 through 25. Document your model through a sketch. They had to sketch it. They continued to build a model into a froglet. They had to document the changes in the new model. I gave them a program. This was their first one to ever do, so I did give them a program at first, and then it asked what the program told the froglet to do, but in the last 10 to 15 minutes, they were able to make their own programs. also, one really neat thing about the WeDo 2.0, it does use sensors. The regular WeDo doesn't, and so this is a little bit more advanced than the regular WeDo. And also, I don't think the regular WeDo uses Bluetooth, and this
No.
one does. So for the Lego WeDo 2.0, you can actually use other apps for it to program. You can use Tinker, which is a great app to use. So you're not limited to just the Lego.
How much is a set?
They're
$200.
yeah, I was gonna say they're a little pricey. So
$199.95.
we bought 10 and have them work with a partner, just because it is kind of pricey.
And did you say there's curriculum online?
There's a curriculum online.
They have
And-
40 hours of curriculum online.
And on the minutes I put under websites, there's a link to, what was that thing called? RoboCamp.
Oh yeah,
And
RoboCamp.
RoboCamp, and it also has a lot of lessons that you can purchase. They're kind of pricey, but they come with a lot, and they have it for the
They had
the
Safari.
EV3s, Scratch, WeDo 2.0. Like, there's lots of different programs that you can purchase if you want to take it further and do more with it.
Do you have 20 students in 3rd grade that you use them with that you only have 10 sets?
16 right now.
So
But-
we do have an extra kit.
I was just, we're looking at purchasing them, and I know that maybe we wouldn't be done in 45 minutes, and so.
It goes, they're quick. So maybe
Okay.
the first one you may have to, wait and have them come back twice. But these girls, they finished it in a day.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I have an hour with them, but we had 15 minutes to spare, and that includes like really good cleanup time too, because that's very important.
Because I was worried about the pieces. Are they really good about putting the
Oh,
pieces?
they're very good at it.
Yeah.
But
Miss Lancaster trained them.
I'm a little bit of I'm a little tough about that. What is it? I say stop, drop in, look. So if we hear that little ting ting, the sound of them dropping, everybody has to stop and look right away for their piece. And we talk about that. And we talk about if we have extra pieces, we don't leave them out. We put them back as soon as we're done with them.
These kits have little stickers, so you put the sticker on, and then that way they know where to put each piece. So we don't let them just put all the pieces back in random order. They have to put them back in the right spot. And it also comes with a little map too. So this map
And
is
I've
the
trained
same
them to know how to read
as the
map.
box.
Amanda?
One of the suggestions, I taught a after school camp, but it was with senior K in 1st grade, which even if you're talk to them about being, blue in the face about putting the pieces where they're supposed to go, they are 5 and 6 years old, and a lot of boys as well. And so we sometimes, if it was a harder build, we would go ahead and preload Ziploc baggies with all the pieces they needed, and so then it became their responsibility. You have every piece you need. If you lose it, so sorry. And then we're kind of tough like that as well. But so that's also a suggestion and then all the pieces have to go back in their baggie, and then you distribute them in the pan.
That's a good idea.
I love that idea.
But I will say, she said it went pretty fast, but our girls have been doing robotics for, we've now been doing a version of WeDo for 6-7 years, something
Okay.
like that, and lots of building and stuff. So depending on what kind of background experience your kids have might affect how long it takes, but they catch on really fast. So, like when I do it with 2nd grade for the first time, they work with a partner, and it is a little slower. We have to allow more time, but by the 2nd time, it starts picking up. They really catch on
Yeah,
fast.
you may want to allow 2 45-minute classes at first,
Okay.
and then after that, kind of see where you are.
Okay.
Mainly because of cleanup time.
To pair your really good Lego builders with someone who might be a little bit slower. Like, if you talk to the teacher about fine motor development, again, I'm talking little people, but that was a huge factor in ours, is who could build the actual Lego piece first. The coding, they all pretty much were on the exact same path, that my faster build people just got done faster, obviously.
So, thank you, girls. Great job.
You got a badge?
Okay, right. Here's the actual robot.
Oh, he's right there, Trevor.
Oh.
Do we want to do him next or give her a minute?
I want to get her to connect it. I'm not sure how long
Okay.
it's going to do that.
While she's doing that, she's getting.
Can we get the first Lego windows?
Sure.
Well, they're all going to need to set up. So let me go ahead and get all of them to come in and set up.
Okay, we're gonna have the girls set up for a minute, and I'm gonna just talk about a few things. So, if you haven't been here before, this is our lower school maker space, and it's grades 1 through 4. Next year, 5th grade's coming across the street and joining us. So we'll be 1 through 5, and we have several groups gonna be setting up. And so you're welcome while you're here to look around the space. This is a really good day to look at it. I've been working hard to. If you had seen it a week and a half ago, it looked more like a dumping ground because people bring in donations and they slip it in without me seeing, and they I have been going through some really weird stuff lately. The girls and I have gotten a little kick out of it. But the way we've changed our robotics a bit this year, since we have Megan here and she's so good at it. So we're kind of trying to do different things with each grade level so that they're having different experiences. Their 2nd grade is still using our traditional, since we still have them, the traditional We Do kits that we have. So they're building the robotic models and doing the programming, and they think it's wonderful because it's their first time really doing it. 3rd grade is using the new We Do 2.0s. So that is what we purchased for them. 4th grade, so every girl in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th does robotics. 4th grade, we bought Jimus this year. Anybody familiar with Jimu? Oh, okay. Well, Eva is getting hers ready right now, and it's like a humanoid type robot. And so each class is doing kind of a quarter where they build the robot with a partner, and then they have different challenges that they're completing, and then they then they take it all apart, box it back up for the next class. So we're rotating them through that way. Then our 4th grade also has an option if they really love robotics and are interested in participating in the past, it's just been First Lego League, but with Megan coming, she was familiar with Vex, and I know a few people here have also, Vex is becoming very popular. So we decided to open it up, and any 4th grader that wanted to spend the time and the effort could participate in this extra robotics, where they had to come one day at lunch and recess, and then some after school. And we had, I think, 22 girls out of 57 decide they wanted to participate, the biggest number. In the past, we had limited it to the 10 that First Lego League could host, but Megan is brave and loves robotics, and she was willing to take it on. So we have 2 First Lego League teams and we divided the girls into 2 groups. So we had 2 teams of First Lego League, and then we have 4 Vex teams going on all at the same time in here. And so we have 1 First Lego League team that's going to demonstrate a little bit. It's been around a long time. You may be familiar with a lot of it. And then we have a Vex group who placed 3rd at competition the other day. And then one of our students, Caroline here, take a look at her Vex. She's going to show it in just a little bit, but her Vex journal really, Vex is a very different approach than First Lego League, if you're not familiar with it. Megan and Shelly is our Vex rep who's going to talk after all the girls are done. Anyways, her journal is, I'm dying to see it myself. I haven't seen it, but Megan says it's amazing and gained them a lot of points at the competition. It's quite different. So, are you ready, Eva?
She's not ready.
Not
We're
ready?
gonna let First
Okay.
Lego League go first. And
Okay,
I think
let
we
me-
need to update Mr. Jimmy.
I'm going to put you up on the screen, girls. So these are 4th graders.
I'm just gonna, while they're doing this, I'm gonna talk about some pros and cons about First Lego League. Definitely some pros is that the TVA gives grants for First Lego League. So if you're interested in doing it, they will come out. You have to get connected with, there's a Memphis First Lego League group, and they have a website. If you just Google Memphis First Lego League, they're all from the University of Memphis. They're professors. So if you get connected with them and you let them know that you want to do First Lego League, the TVA will most likely give you a grant to do that. We got 2 grants this year for 2 teams.
And one last year, so we did it for a couple of years.
Yeah, so I think it was $225 a team.
Yeah, it covered the The registration and the field kit was it or
No,
something?
not the
No.
field kit. Just the
Everything but the
registration,
field
yeah.
kit, which is like another 75 or 80
Yes,
bucks,
75.
something like that, so.
Yeah, so the field kit is what they're on now. So they had to build all of these pieces. This year is called Hydrodynamics, and next year it's called Into Orbit. So they have a little teaser up. So we don't really know what the game is going to be next year. We just know that the theme is Into Orbit. One thing that I don't like about First Lego League is it doesn't separate from elementary school to middle school, which for me as an elementary school teacher it's frustrating because my girls were going against kids with mustaches. And so I like that VEX separates from elementary to middle school. One great thing is they have a lot of free online resources. If you don't know anything about programming, you don't need to know anything about it because the girls or your kids will learn how to program just on these online tutorials. So you don't need any kind of programming experience. And also you can compete with a bot right out of the box and you can do great. So our bot is, it's a little bit out of the box, and girls, can you tell some of the things that you added? Those attachments, make sure you speak up and face them so they can see.
This is a passive attachment for the fountain that used to be right here. Used to be right here in this empty space, but it broke.
Got destroyed.
So we couldn't use it anymore. So about like a little bit before the competition, we couldn't practice this part, but we ended up doing great in it. So basically, you back up, and the water is in here, and it passes by it. It pushes it down, and the water comes out and lands in the fountain.
And then tell them about your other attachment.
This attachment is for the filter, and it's also a passive attachment, and it goes on the side of the robot, and it will come up, and it will hit the filter, and it will push it in.
Okay, yeah, so this is all programming. What's a little bit different about this and the VEX, you have an option to program, but you don't have to. You have a controller. So girls, y'all want to show a program that y'all did? So I think they're going to try the one that pushes the filter, and they're going to try to get the rain, and maybe the pipe edition. Okay. So you have to have it lined up perfectly for it to work. We're learning how to make the robot go straight. There's some different sensors that will help you. So this is your first year doing this. The earliest you can do it is 4th grade. So next year we're going to add some sensors and stuff to help us do a little bit better. Go for it, girls. Oh, you got it.
No.
And if that happens in the competition, it's okay. You get a penalty if you get -5 points, but yeah.
So every time you like touch it, when it's out of this, you get. They put this here and then -5 points for your score.
Y'all gonna try the tripod?
We're gonna try the filter.
Oh, filter, okay.
And we have worked through the years at teaching them not to give up, as you can see, and that it's okay if things don't work the first time. That's part of the process. You're going to learn it better if you make mistakes. All that stuff that we talk about really comes through to me when we do the robotics.
We didn't get the filter.
That's pretty
It
good.
scares me every time. It ruined our perfect design. It ruined the design.
Okay, was there something else they wanted?
No, I think y'all are good, girls. I think y'all did a great job.
Yeah.
Is there anything y'all want to share about the experience or about your competition, or what do you like about it? What do you like about robotics?
I like programming and building
different things on how you have to modify and make things better. And next year we'll get to use sensors, so that'll make our robot go much straighter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think coding is really interesting and fun, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it. You can do anything with it, so I think that's really cool.
Do y'all mind giving up all your time to work on it?
Yes.
No.
Well, no, I don't mind. I don't mind.
You don't mind, but you do.
I know. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Great job. All right, thank you, girls. Go ahead and turn it off. So next year, because 5th grade's coming across the street, we're changing things a little bit. We used to have 6th grade do robotics across the street, and every student did with the EV3 kits. All year long they did robotics, but now we're going to move it down to 5th grade because we've got this continuous program. It kind of skipped 5th and then went to 6th. So since 5th grade's coming over and we have Megan Michael, she is going to do, we're going to, one of their science classes will be robotics every week. So every week they'll have 2 science classes and a robotics class. So that's what the girls, they're excited. They're going to get to keep doing it next year with Miss Michael. All right, do y'all have a pass? Thank you so much, girls. Are we ready?
I think we should do the Vex. I'm still trying to get Jimmy to connect.
They were 4th graders?
Yes.
And then what were they just using Lego kit? What kits were those?
They're Lego EV3 kits.
EV3.
EV3.
Let me just share. I'm not sure if we're going to get it to work, but you do have the video, right?
I do have the
Because
video.
I'm not getting it to connect.
Okay.
It's saying it has a low battery.
Do you want to, let's put this on the screen and you can talk about the programming a little bit, Eva? Does that sound good? And then I'll show the video, the dance video. Okay? So Eva's one of our 4th graders, and she, her class was one of the ones that used the Jimu, which she built him. They had taken him down, but she rebuilt it so that you could see it. But I guess it's not completely charged, so it's having a little trouble. But these are Jimu. You can get them through the Apple Education Store, or actually, we got these online.
I'm not sure where we got them, but I know you can get them from Apple. I actually saw them at the Apple Store.
Yeah, they do have some at the Apple Store. This one is this the MeBot?
Yes.
I think this is the MeBot. And the difference in the level below in this one was not too much money, so we went ahead and went with the bigger kits. And it uses the iPad's programming software. And the girls like these because, like I said, they're kind of humanoids. Like, they can make them do different things. So I'm going to let Eva talk a little bit about how the programming and stuff works, and then I have a video to show you.
So, it's pretty easy to program the Jimu because you already start with some programs. Like there's standby, which just makes it stand. Then you can make it do a little dance when it's happy.
So that's what the robot actually looks like when it's doing the dance.
And you can also, there's also controls, so you can make it go forward, backward, side to side. And the coding is when you can put all the actions together. So like the moves.
It looks a little like Scratch and all these things that they're already used to, Blockly and all that.
So, there's instructions for you to build the robot.
This is one of my favorite parts, that you don't have to have a whole bunch of paper or a book. The program online, the app actually teaches them how to build it step by step. And it's, Eva, go through it real quick and show them how you can manipulate it and make it go, like, turn around and stuff if you need to see a better view or a different view on the building. Because I think that's a great feature. You can use your finger to kind of look at every single angle to see if you missed anything. And this wasn't easy to build. I actually built it before them, and I thought it was difficult, but they seemed to really excel on it.
So we had 9 groups of partners building with the first class, and all but one successfully had it done. And that one was more of a group issue. How can I say it nicely? And so they struggled a little bit getting theirs built, but they all were able to do it. Some of the pieces are a little tough, the connectors, getting them out, and but there's a tool that comes with it that somebody figured out the
We
tool.
didn't even know it was
We
there.
didn't know it was there. The girls figured it out, and that's what I love is that they do most of the figuring out and the work. Go ahead, Eva.
So it's easy to move around. You can just use your fingers. And it shows you what part of the robot you're building if you're confused. And you can also create more actions by moving the servos, which are basically the motors.
So the girls were having to learn a lot about which motor was controlling which action.
So on our robot, we had to make a new action because, like, our robot would always kind of, like, it would sometimes break because some of the actions would be,
It couldn't bend quite that way.
yeah, it couldn't really
Yeah.
move correctly, so we had to make a new action, and we called it the arm fix, make sure it wouldn't break or anything.
Do you want me to show them the video? Okay, so this is, so the girls all on their own, this is, and I guess being at a girls' school, this is what happens. But I came in one day and they had been working and they decided to create a choreographed dance program with all their robots when they got done. So here it is.
1, 2, 3. Ours is sexy, but
They just need some music in the background.
That is awesome.
And then,
They look like minions.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So to get to that point of being able to do that, they did the self-built-in tutorials. Then Megan had little mini challenges that took them through some of it, and then they just went off on their own and did it. Thank you so much, Eva. Great job. And then we have the Vex, which I'm going to let Megan talk about that for a minute. I'm going to put it on the camera so you can see it.
What age did that?
4.
I actually, where I found out about these was a year or two ago. I was visiting the Delta School, and they had them there at that time, and I had gotten one, and then when Megan came, and we revamped how we were doing things in different grades, because we want to keep it fresh and exciting, but and take it in different ways and make them do different things. So we decided to go with that, because she got real excited about the robot. But I think it would work for most. I don't know if I would go below 3rd grade with it. The pieces are hard, a little challenging to work with.
We do with the younger one.
And understanding the what do they call the motors? The servos. Thank you. I was like, there's a word. The servos and all that gets a little more complicated. So All right, Megan, you want
Okay, so this is these girls' first year to ever do the VEX IQ robotics. And our field is on the ground over here, and bet Jessica's about to show you all. But their goal this year was to pick up rings. They could either pick them up off of the poles, or they could pick them up off the ground. Or not the poles, the little pegs over there. And so they get points if they get matching color rings onto the pole. And then if they also get points if they have a mismatch, but not as many points. And then there's also a bonus tray in the back. If they get the bonus tray, they get even more points. So girls, can you all just let's do a little demonstration, and then you can explain your robot. How about that? And we had a competition last week. These girls did a really good job. They are ranked in skills right now, number 3 in the state. So this is just their first year doing it. So one of the greatest things about VEX is you can be a total newbie and have no idea what you're doing, and it's okay. You can still do well. Actually, my first year of doing it was at a different school, and we qualified for Worlds that year. So you can know nothing and do well.
And Megan was saying these girls haven't even done the programming piece. They're only so far they qualified on that, just on the driving and their robot and all that. So they're going to learn the programming.
There's a programming piece as well that will add points to your skills, and we're going to do that for our state competition. So okay, girls, show them how you can pick up a few rings and then drop them on the pole. We're still making modifications too. When I went to the competition last weekend, there were a lot of people with a bot straight out of the box. What's it called? Stretch. And they were winning. So actually the team that won the Teamwork Champion Award, they had Stretch. So that's straight out of the box.
That's awesome.
Okay, show them how you can get the bonus tray.
If they can stack the rings and have the same color, then they get double points.
They have a wheel that goes side to side, which really helps them. I think that's why they did so well.
That was their design.
Yeah. Yes, I forgot to say that. It's an alliance match, so you meet the person that you're going with, not against. So if you have a really good alliance partner, that's awesome because you get whatever points that they get. But it's stuck sometimes.
Yeah, she flipped the switch. It just didn't roll out.
Yeah. So when we went to Worlds, we would have alliance partners with people that didn't even speak English, and so you have to try to strategize with them, but they don't speak any English, which is really so they also have a STEM research project to do and an engineering design notebook. So this is Caroline, and this is her notebook, and I think that it might be, well, I can open it up. Here, why don't you kind of say a little bit about it?
Well, this is our first page, and right now it was like our first day at VEX, so we didn't know a lot about the robots. So we kind of drew out our ideas.
So they had 4 different ideas that they were thinking about doing. And then go ahead and skip over to where you started drawing the new robot.
Okay, it's this one.
Okay. So we built the Clawbot first, which is the robot straight out of the box. And so this is where she's kind of changing the idea from the Clawbot and then to this one, which is our new bot.
And right here is our drivetrain, and it's the base of the robot where you put the brain and the wheels.
And all the motors.
And this competition was just elementary?
So they have a lot of local competitions that are elementary and middle, but at this specific competition, they had an elementary school winner and a middle school winner. And whenever you get to state, this year it's actually separated from elementary and middle, so we're not having to go against 8th graders that have had way more experience than us.
It depends on the number of teams in each grade level that are at a competition, and if we have enough to be able to divide it, then we do. And so Tennessee we're just getting to that point where we do have enough teams in a geographic area that when we have a local competition that we can divide them. So that's the good part.
We can pass this around too.
So
How much is a Vex kit?
That's mine. I'm coming up
She's
next.
gonna talk. Yep, she's next.
right
Free.
here is our idea that is our okay. So right here is where it sucks it up.
This was their first design.
Yeah, this is our first design.
And so it was supposed to suck up the rings, but we had to modify it some because it didn't work correctly. We couldn't get it to suck up rings like that.
And because it was over the size limit.
And it was over the size limit. So this was their first idea to somehow get the ring on a pole, put the ring onto this conveyor belt, and then drop the ring off onto the pole. So you can see their design process as they're going through and how they ended up at the design that they have now. So you have to go into a judge's room and explain your robot, and you have to present them with your notebook to show them that you actually went through the engineering design process, and Caroline's team won the design award. And so they had to present their robot, explain what it does, but also show their notebook to show that they actually went through all the steps.
You can see she's very artistic.
She's a very artist. Yes.
All right, just show one more, and then we're gonna let y'all go back to class.
This right here is part of our robot that we have right now, and it says ring catcher after the ring has been sucked up. So it means there's another part, like
The conveyor belt part that
The
sucks the
conveyor.
rings up.
yes, and it falls onto this pole right here, and then this flips over onto the pole that gets you points.
Thank you. Yeah, we can pass her notebook around if anybody wants to look at it. Girls, y'all did a great job. Thank you. You want to turn your robot off and head back to class? So some of it, this may have been stuff you've already seen or not. We just are trying to build a really strong foundation while they're young, and then when they get across the street, for us, it's across the street. Hopefully, those that really develop a passion, like Eva and some of them, this is the area that they shine and are doing so well. And we have some girls that academics, may or may not be their strong suit, but this is the thing that really they shine, and it's great that we have this opportunity. So Megan has them optional times on Mondays and Tuesdays after school till 4:30 that they can come and work, and the room's always full with kids willing to stay. Thank you. Y'all did a great job. So that's kind of how our robotics program is going, and like I said, we're making some changes because of shifting of grades and things. Do you want to add anything before?
No, I think, Shelly, you're going to talk about how you can earn money just throwing competitions and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to let them connect Shelly's presentation up here.
I've got a little different perspective. First of all, I want to clarify, I do not work for VEX. I work for the REC Foundation, which is a nonprofit that helps schools and even private organizations like Scouts and churches and libraries and family teams to get robotics in the hands of kids. And we actually support lots of different types of robotics. And I've been working with STEM since 2003 when I led the options program for girls in math and science. And we were using the EV3s, the Mindstorm kits with the NXTs. At that point, and then we did a lot of the summer camps through the University of Memphis to encourage girls to pursue the engineering. And when I went back to the classroom after spearing that program to Collierville High School, I kept that engineering program going so that we could maintain the contacts within the community, and that the high school girls would have an opportunity to do internships and field trips and competitions and all of that. About 5 years ago, I asked the administration if we could offer it as a class because I was teaching math during the day, about 150, 175 kids, but I had another 200 students who were interested in STEM after-school projects, and I was like losing my mind. I mean, it was so hard. And so they said, well, we'll offer it, see if anybody is even interested. We had over 400 students apply to be in the STEM class. So I went from teaching all math to teaching 6 sections of STEM 1, and still had another 200 students after school who could not get into the class. So there was that much of a demand, but I think having that club initiated that. They were like, oh, this is the Jets Club. We all want to do that. So the first year was the year that we were merged with the Shelby County Schools and Memphis City Schools were merged. And I even said, is this a really good year to do this because we need equipment? And they're like, oh, yeah, you're going to get your equipment. So we started the year with nothing. And I was looking for, we did E-Day at University of Memphis, Construction, a lot of the local competitions in engineering. And so I was looking for a project that would teach the engineering design process and didn't require any equipment while I'm waiting for equipment to show up. So I've discovered the Sikorsky Helicopter Design Contest. And it's through a group called By Kids for Kids. They also have some economics competitions for kids, so other things besides just STEM. But it was great because they had to look at global challenges and brainstorm and figure out, well, there's global challenges. What were those 50 years ago? Well, what are those now? Well, what do you think those might be 50 years from now? The goal was to design the helicopter that would be used 50 years from now, and from what purpose. A lot of the kids that had, this is actually a contest for 4th through 10th grade. So a lot of the kids had a lot of ideas that they had pulled from video games and from Star Trek and Star Wars and all of those things that they had seen in sci-fi, and were able to come up with some really, really neat designs. So that was my teaching of the engineering design process. They presented them to the class, they wrote up the submissions, they sent them in to Sikorsky, and then we moved on and started building stuff with spaghetti and marshmallows and craft sticks and solo cups and all that kind of stuff. And then a few weeks later, we got the notification that we had the national winner and we had a finalist. And the prize was for the winners to go to Connecticut and actually go through the Sikorsky manufacturing plant. So we were able to see where the Blackhawks were manufactured. And I had no idea that was on my bucket list, but it absolutely was. And it was fantastic. When we came back from that trip, lots of media attention. We were on the front page of Parent Magazine, and everybody was coming out of the woodwork about this great program that Collierville had. We didn't have a STEM program. We didn't. We had a winner off the internet because we didn't have equipment. I mean, that's really what we had. During that year, we were required to have a CTSO. So that's TSA for STEM, the Technology Student Association. And so it's like, okay, we'll try that and see what it is. Had 11 students that went to nationals. There were 13 in West Tennessee, and 11 were from our program. We did Cyber Patriot. We had a winner in the gold division, Cyber Patriot, which is an anti-hacking thing. And I don't know any of this. I'm a geometry teacher. Okay, so I don't know any of this, but we learned it together, and the kids were very successful. Through the Memphis City Schools, they were using Race to the Top money to do FIRST robotics for the high school, the FRC. That's the big 120-pound industrial robot that they actually build not from a kit. And we had 15 students in a $40,000 budget. Yeah, to do a robot. And then we had to travel and competed with it. And they won. And went to the World Championship the first year. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because my thought was that we would go through these programs and kind of decide what was our fit and then narrow it down. And then you have kids that are really going to excel in this and really going to excel in that and really going to excel in that. And then how do you cut? So that was the boat I was in at the end of that first year. Second year, we got Bex Robotics for the classroom, and this is the kit that is for the middle and high school. Middle school can either go with the IQ, the plastic version, or the VRC. And then the high school and college plays with the VRC. And so this is the super competition kit. So you get the Clawbot, which is this. is what you see right here. And then this box is the rest of the super competition kit. That's all of the parts and sensors and everything for them to modify the robot. And we'll get to how, yes, you get all this for free, because TVA, while they sponsor First Lego and the other programs, they are very dedicated to sponsoring robots. They want robots in every kid's hand. They don't care what kind it is. So they are supporting First and Vex and Best and anybody else that comes to them and asks. So there is a grant program where you can get startup equipment in your school. So this is what we started with in the classroom, and we went to TSA, and TSA has a VEX competition, and the students ended up in the Final Four in that and decided that they kind of liked that. And so after that first year of having 15 on my first robotics team, the second year we had 80. Well, 80 people can't build a robot. So what you do is you divide them up, and these kids work on strategy, and these kids work on marketing, and these kids work on safety. And so that's what we did with the 80. But looking at it from out here, you've got this kid over here who really would like to drive a robot, but they don't ever get the chance because they're not on that team. And so it was very frustrating for me to watch, just as an educator, and that disappointment sometimes. And so we turned VEX into sort of our JV program, I guess. So we had 72 kids who were doing VEX in the fall. And then the ones that could commit the time, because First is a 6-week build time. So the kids that could commit the time 6 weeks, like literally 7 days a week until midnight. I mean, that's not an exaggeration, to get that 120-pound robot built, manufactured, and built. Then those kids could really focus on that. But that gave all 80 a chance to drive, a chance to program, a chance to do the design engineering notebook, to be involved in all of those pieces. So when I retired, because I hit my 30-year mark and then got an offer from the REC Foundation, the planets aligned. All of this happened about a year and a half ago. We had 12 VEX teams, and then we had the first team, and they're still maintaining that today. So through that, we've had a lot of growth in Tennessee, and I'm going to switch over to the presentation now to kind of get me back on track. But I wanted to give you an idea of not only how STEM fell on us with Collierville STEM, but also how I can be of assistance to you, because I live in Collierville, I work from home, I travel to robotics tournaments. I actually serve Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas as my territory, but I'm available to you, and we should have the absolute best robotics program in the state of Tennessee, or in any of those 3 states, because you got the connection right here. And I'm available and would love to get out of the house sometimes, so don't hesitate to call me, okay?
Yeah, she wasn't my VEX rep when I first started. Someone from Florida was, and he flew out to help me with my first competition because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even want to do it, but he had already got his ticket, so I couldn't turn back then. He came and, really, really helped me and showed me, and so that's something that you don't have with some other robotics programs out there. You don't have
That's really what makes this program unique. And a lot of us who serve in the regional support manager role are teachers. And so we understand that when you put in the PO and then you're trying to get a registration fee paid and all of that stuff, we get that process, and you don't have the boots on the ground in some of these other organizations as well. So this is what's happened in the last 2 years. 40 countries, we're at 43 countries now, 1,450 events, 19,000 teams. A team is anywhere from 2 to 30. It can vary so much depending on how the program is set up. And so we estimate about 190,000 students that are learning from VEX Robotics. That's actually a small estimate, because we know that Project Lead the Way is a curriculum that also uses VEX Robotics, and those teams don't necessarily compete. And there's a lot of the classes, like even our CTE classes in Shelby County schools and in the municipal schools use VEX within their curriculums as well. So that's even a shy estimate of the number. More specifically, a couple of these. Okay, so this is the growth in different types of robotics competitions. So BotBall has stayed stationary on purpose because they only allow X number of teams to participate. and then if someone transitions out, then they'll bring one in. But that's stationary on purpose. The green is Best Robotics. Best Robotics uses VEX products too, but all they use are the controller and the brain. And then it's up to the students to build the rest of the robot out of recyclable materials, basically. These materials are provided to the schools for free, and they give them back at the end. So that's all good. Also, instead of the engineering design notebook, they do have an engineering design notebook, but they also have a marketing piece so that they are judged on their business presentation. When you go to a competition, it's like a business expo, like the Consumer Electronics Show that just took place in Vegas. That's sort of what they're trying to replicate. And so that is part of it as well. So it has that marketing piece. And BEST is growing a little bit. It's just that it's not everywhere, and so travel becomes a cost that has to be considered to go and compete in the BEST competitions. FRC is the 120-pound robot that I mentioned. The big con on this one is having the facilities, and when you need things welded, and you need a CNC machine, and you need that type of work done in a 6-month period, then that is really difficult to do. Or a 6-week period, I should say. That's difficult to do. But that is growing. It actually grew with the Race to the Top money because so many of the states use that, and now it's declining a little bit because that money's not available. And the registration fee for FRC is $5,000.
Wow.
So that's not to get you to a competition. That's to sign up to play for that season. And that's not your robot. That's the beginning, like the brain and stuff like that. So, like, my husband complains about a $20 haircut. And I'm thinking, oh, please don't let him find out how much I spend. And, so it's all relative. So I think with coming from First and having that $40,000 budget that I was trying to fundraise to do, because the next year we didn't have the Race to the Top money, and so we sold candy bars and everything else to try to do that.
Actually, I think we maybe did the FRC in the upper school a
Yes.
couple years ago, and like Medtronic was
Yes.
they gave us
Yes.
money. Sponsored.
Yes.
Okay, and so we had funds from
Absolutely.
Medtronic and maybe somebody else.
FedEx.
Sponsored
Yes.
for
So right now with
this
FRC in the area, right, so right now FedEx is sponsoring 3 teams. They're sponsoring Collierville High School's FRC team, White Station's team, and then they have a community team. They tried in other schools, and what they ended up, I don't know, it just wasn't working because of some of the restrictions that the schools were putting on having mentors come in, and then also being at school after hours in the evenings, which when you have professional mentors, you have to be able to work at night. So after they get off work is when they're available. So there were some restrictions. So they have one at the public library that's the Benjamin Hooks Library at the Cloud 901. So any student in the area can be part of that team, and that team is funded by the University of Memphis and FedEx. So there's, that's a great opportunity for kids to go to that level. They can take anything that they learn from all of these building blocks, from FLL to BexIQ to VRC to FRC. Actually, Collierville is modeling their FRC robot this year after a VEX robot that is winning everywhere they go. And so they are just building it on a larger scale. So that one's turned into sort of their prototype that now they're building their FRC robot from it. So a lot of people think that we are in competition with First. We're not. All right, but just to kind of line things up. So First is the organization that decides the rules for being part of a First competition. The REC Foundation is who I work for. That's what we do for VEX competitions. So Lego is the product line, VEX is a product line. VEX Pro that provides a lot of the material that the First robots use. So when you have to go in and buy raw material, not a kit, then they purchase a lot of that through VEX Pro. So there's even still a VEX connection with FRC. So a lot of people think that we're competing, and we're actually not. It's like professional wrestling, and they're all friends. And so when, like, we go do our, I'm not kidding, like, we all go do our competition for the VEX World competition, and then we drive over to St. Louis and we help with the first competition, and vice versa. They come and help with the VEX competition. So it's not this big competition between these companies that people think that it is. It isn't. We want robots in every kid's hands. But BRC is showing the greatest growth, and the reason for that is because of the cost. So BRC, to register a team, is $150 a year. It's $100 for each additional team that you register. And that gets you in robot events. It gets you access to the programming software, which we use. Robot C is the programming software. It has a graphical version that is very similar to the Scratch and all that you saw up here with the other formats. So it has a graphical version and it has a natural language version. So it's a very easy transition in going from graphical to getting into actual C programming. We have an update to that coming up in May that's called VEX Coding Studio. And it's actually going to have all kinds of bells and whistles. Texas Instruments has been instrumental in helping to develop that with the VEX engineers. So we're real excited about that. But all right, so cost, $150 to register a team, $100 for each additional team. And then the best news is that our competitions, we have developed enough teams in West Tennessee that we can have all of our competitions here on Saturdays. It's not necessary for students to miss school. It's not necessary for them to do an overnight trip or anything like that, which is the case in these other formats. So VEX to me was very self-serving in the teacher, because that was money that I didn't have to raise. And if you host your own tournaments, all of the entry fees that the teams pay to come and play, which is usually about $50 a team, the school keeps that hosts that. So not only are you not having to pay for your team to go somewhere else, but you're actually getting to bring in those funds. We also next year are going to start league play. So think bowling leagues with robots, where they'll get together once a week and play, and then over a period of time, you've decided how they rank, and then you play the finals, determine winners, and send them to the state championship. So it's really exciting. I've got some data. We can kind of, all right, this is IQ. So IQ is just exploding. However, it is exploding in Tennessee, but we've got a lot of catching up to do. Indiana's governor 2 years ago made the commitment that they were going to put robots in every child's hand. They have 900 elementary teams in the state of Indiana. Yeah. I have 900, which I'm very proud of, 900 teams in 3 states. And that's all elementary, middle, high school, college. Okay? So it is crazy. Oklahoma says that they have had such a big change in their STEM throughout their state. It's had such a big impact because they started doing VEX robotics in that pre-service teacher technology class, you know, that class where I was learning how to thread the projector, that one. Yeah, so what they're doing as part of that class is VEX robotics. And so it's going to, you know, they don't have to be a STEM teacher, the librarian, the special ed, anybody can learn it. And then they're using that as that carrot to get hired. So they're going into schools and they're saying, I'll be your robotics coach. They're not afraid of it. So that has really made a big difference. So I love being a mole in a sense, that I can see what's happening out there and then bring it back and hopefully make a difference for what we're doing here. Okay, move on to the next one. Okay, so this is where we are with VEX. The VRC is the middle robot. That's middle and high school. That's the blue. And then VEX IQ is the red. And then VEX U is the little one at the bottom. We're still working on that. We don't have grants for VEX U, so that's why that's not helping. But our teams at VEX U are UT Knoxville and Tennessee Tech. And we do have one that's in the process of starting at the University of Memphis for next year. So, all right, moving on. Okay, so we've gone from when I started doing VEX at Carterville High School to 55 states in the team to now we have 280, or in the state, we have 283. And this is the breakdown of how they are per grade level. So the VEX IQ Elementary, and these are teams, VEX IQ Middle School, VRC Middle School, VRC High School, and VEX U. And then the number of competitions that we're having statewide. So we went from 11 tournaments last year in the state of Tennessee to 18 in the state of Tennessee. And we have, of the VRC tournaments, we have, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 of those are in the Memphis area. So it's a great opportunity for kids to compete locally.
I had 9 of these.
That first year?
I had 9, and there was one team from Nashville.
So this is where they are, and so we're making it happen. And that Nashville number, that 25, is really not in a really good place. That includes Clarksville and the areas north of Nashville. But those are our middle school, high school VRC teams right now. And then the next one will show where our VEX IQ teams are located. So we're dominating in the elementary program there. And as such, Megan and then the teacher at St. George's, Krista Smothers, they are going to be running the state tournament this year for IQ. Okay, so TVA offers new team grants, and they also offer existing team grants. So the new team grants, what it does is it gets you a super competition kit. So this is what you get with the VRC new team grant. It's valued at about $1,500. If you wanted to buy another kit, like if you had a second team, you've got all this extra stuff, and what we did at Collierville is this was enough for multiple teams to share. So all we bought was just this for our second team. And so this is about $550. All right, and it's got in the brain, which I'm not holding, the battery chargers, that kind of stuff, is about $550.
That's called what?
This is called the VEX EDR. The EDR stands for Educational Robot. And this is for middle, high school, and college. Now, the IQ robots that are here are for the elementary and middle school. And this one, the Super Competition Kit that comes with the Clawbot and all of the extra parts, is about $550. And so if you could get a TVA grant for that one to start for an elementary team as well.
What do you consider elementary?
Grades K through 5.
So if it's a 5-16, that moves up to middle?
It depends on how the campus is laid out. So if it's a school where the 6th grade is on the elementary campus, then no. But if it's a 6th, 7th, and 8th, usually 6th, 7th, and 8th is middle school.
We're like K6.
Yeah.
So that could be elementary.
Yeah, if you're K6, they could be elementary. Probably what will happen is after the first year, or maybe 2, but maybe after the first year, is that if you get them started with IQ, you'll have those that really do well, and they might be ready to do this. So that's an option. The requirement is, so it's a matching grant. So you get the Super Competition Kit. You are required to create a second team and to compete in at least one event during the season. So that would require you to pay a $150 registration fee for the first team and a $100 registration fee for the second team. So that's the commitment for the matching grants with TVA, the equipment grants. Existing grants are given out to teams the second year, and they get bundled. So it's $250, or that's what their MOU is for the next couple of years. It's $250 to teams for them to get extra sensors, replace batteries, get backup controllers. There's different bundles that are available, and you go through our resellers at Learning Labs in order to get the equipment that you need with that $250. So it's like a gift card that can be used through Learning Labs for additional VEX equipment. They also provide district-wide grants. So we have a model for that, and basically it's this on steroids. If you want to put 20 teams, instead of having 20 teachers all do these individual grants, you get 20 of the little kits, and we'll give you 20 of the big kits. And then we also provide teacher training with that. TVA has hosted or sponsored 2 live teacher trainings, and we did one in Brentwood and one in Memphis. We had 42 at the Memphis training in November, and it was hugely successful. And then we also do webinar training. So we just finished an 8-week teacher training that was through a webinar. So, and those, I mean, we can do those anytime for anything with a small group. I do a lot of webinar or Skype with teams after school because they have questions with the programming, and I'll sit down with them on the computer face to face and help them to brainstorm and troubleshoot that kind of stuff. event sponsorships. So they also, to tournaments, they select a certain number throughout the state, and they give $500, and the $500 helps to pay for the new game, because every year that game changes. So like on this field, if you were going to buy a game field, the bottom part is $200. That's what you use year after year after year. But the ringmaster changes every year, and so that's $99. Now that's for the IQ. The VRC is arena. It's a 12 by 12 foot arena, and it has field electronics. The kids go up, they plug in, they run autonomously, they run driver. It's a lot more like what you see on ABC BattleBots, which is also VEX, FYI. And so it's a lot more like that, and it's a lot more expensive. It costs about $1,800 to completely outfit that for a tournament. Now, you don't have to do all of that for the classroom, and I can help you. There's lots of ways that you can shortcut just to be able to practice in the classroom. But the TVA event sponsorships help the event partners to get started and to get that kind of equipment. And we borrow a lot. So we pack up and take our fields over here, and they don't charge us entry fees for our kids because we're going to bring a field with us. And then when we host our tournament, well, you provide 10 volunteers that will serve as judges for our design notebook, and we won't charge you a registration fee. So since all of that money is going back to the school program anyway, there's a lot of that type of gentleman's agreements that go on within the community. Junior ROTC has made a commitment through the Army Junior ROTC to put VEX robotics programs in every one of their classes. So that has been new this year, and they are including the VEX robotics competition in their big competition at Fort Knox, Kentucky every year, where they do their drills and all that stuff. They're now going to have a VEX competition as part of that. So it's really catching on. The TVA and Memphis Light, Gas, and Water do provide volunteers as mentors, as judges for competitions, etc. And they also do some things where they have some exhibitions where you can bring your teams and you can meet other people that are in the STEM fields. So the students have the opportunity to meet professionals, but you also have an opportunity to get support as well in a variety of ways. All right. I know. Time's up. I'm getting the hook. I'm getting the hook. Okay, I'm good. We talked about Ringmaster, and we've talked about In the Zone, and we do have a girl-powered initiative, and I have some wristbands and stickers. Help yourself. I got the swag. Help yourself to that. And we do have a girl-powered grant that gets you a kit, and you don't have to do a matching one, and it gets you the super competition kit if you'll put a team together that has at least 50% girls. And a team is 4, so all you need is 2 girls. All right, that's a no-brainer. All right, and then we also offer online challenges. You don't have to even have a robot to do it. We have a competition with a virtual robot and it's the same Ringmaster or In the Zone, the same thing, and you can play online with people all over the world. And there's also CAD with prizes of 3D printers and all kinds of things that are not just robots with our online challenges. And we would have an industry certification program that is certified by ITEA, and it's a test that is either in pre-engineering or robotics, and it costs $50 for students to take the test. And colleges can look at it and waive some introductory level engineering classes because they can see the skills that they've mastered in those areas. And so with that, it's a better value than an AP test in that sense. And I'm almost through here. I just want to show you, here we go, this is it.
This one's
so I think it comes up one by one. There we go. Okay, so this is, take a picture, this is what you need to know. So robotevents.com is where you sign up teams and where you look at all of the tournaments and workshops and camps that are going on everywhere. Roboticseducation.org is our website, the REC Foundation. This has all the curriculum, it has all of the support materials, videos, anything and everything is at roboticseducation.org. VEXrobotics.com is the retail site, but they also have like a VEX IQ camp handbook. So if you wanted to run a camp as a fundraiser and to teach your kids, that's how we ended up making all of our money, was through summer camps. We could make $40,000 in the summer with 2 weeks of summer camps. Oh yeah,
They're
it's
looking
huge.
for people are looking for camps to send their kids, robotics camps. A lot of the parents I saw last weekend at the competition, they have sons that don't go here because it's an all-girls school, and they were asking me like, "How can I get my kid involved in this?" And I was thinking, well, maybe we could do a summer camp. Be cool.
Yeah. And then I've got a group on Facebook, unofficial, Brash Robots of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. And so we kind of stay connected through that. But just the main thing is, know that I'm here for you, and I'm willing to help in any of the things that I've mentioned today, not just IQ and VRC. And just let me know if you need any help along the way.
Can we add your presentation to our minutes? So
Sure,
if anybody that's not
absolutely.
here will have the-
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amanda, do you want to add anything about robotics? Y'all have a lot going on at St. George's.
We do. I don't. Everything that everyone said has been fabulous. If you don't want to talk to people, that's not your specialty. But we have a large initiative going on with youngers as well. So I know we talked a lot about elementary, middle, and high, but I'm doing a lot. Hey, Lena. I'm doing a lot for the little bitty kids. So if you want to talk JK, senior K, first grade, we have some other kind of robotics with Dash and Dot and Caterpillars and things like that. But
And Dash and Dot are over on the counter. If you want to take a look at them, I haven't done probably as much as you have, so I would love to talk a little bit more about that. But if you want to see what they're like, the boxes are there and you can check it out. And the room is empty, so if you want to stay and talk to Shelly or Amanda or me or anybody, Megan had to go back to class.
If I can do a shout out, this weekend, Saturday, at St. George's, the Collierville campus, they are going to have a huge tournament going on with the VRC robots. And it's free admission, so bring family, friends. It's a lot of fun, and come out. It's going to be going on all day, probably like 9 to 4 at the St. George's campus. Live in action.
These are Dash and Dot, if you haven't seen them. And the students use apps on the iPad that work very similar to the Scratch Blockly interface type thing. So you can look at them while you're up here. All right, just a little bit of general business. Anybody want to approve last month's? Thank you, Jane.
I second.
Okay. All right, and then Lena, do you want to give a quick update? I just put the total you gave me. I didn't change the other stuff.
Okay. Balance that we have as of today, as of this morning, is $1,187.51. Those are old deposits. The withdrawals that we had was about $200 for door prizes that I wrote a check to John for, and I do have a check on my desk that I got this week from Briarcrest. It hasn't been deposited. And I've got to go back and look at our withdrawals and things. There's about $18 in our favor that I don't exactly know where. It's been Catholic Schools Week, and I did not look at it before today. I just looked at our old balance and what the actual statement is that said. So I've got to find out where that extra $18 needs to go. So
Okay.
I'll get that updated and have it for the next meeting.
Thank you. If you haven't done the attendance, there's the link. Sarah couldn't be here today. They have a big thing going on at St. Agnes. So if anybody wants to add anything to the minutes, please feel free. I'll go back in and fill in a little bit about what we talked about today. Our next meeting is going to be at PDS, and so we'll get information out about that. Lynn is going to be our presenter, right? Talking about Teach Point. And one thing I would like everybody to do between now and then, I've got a link here to a little, y'all know I like surveys. I have a survey all the time. I do with my teachers too. But it's a great way to have all the information in one place. If everybody would go to the link and then put in your favorite tech tool and why and cost and a link to it. And then we'll share that at the next meeting. Innovate Ed, do you want to say anything about that?
The committee is meeting as soon as we're done here. It's going to be a short meeting, not very long, but we are meeting, and we'll get more information out next month.
Okay, and that'll be at Briarcrest, and that will be our April meeting. I don't have to plan anything. Yay. The consortium, we can talk about that more next time since you're running short. I got an email this week from Episcopal Collegiate School. Guy who used to be part of MAIS TEC said that Google Summit being hosted with EdTech at that school in June, and so he wanted me to put that information on there for that registration. So that's a new PD. Any other PDs?
I'm going to add this when I get back, but we are hosting at Hutchinson Anna Homan. I don't know if y'all have heard of her. She's written some great different books, but this one is on social media wellness because we're sort of trying to have, so we know it's being used and we know kids are using it. So she's actually coming and doing a session with the girls, a session with our faculty, and then on Tuesday night at 6, there's a parent community session. So I'll put the information.
Next Tuesday?
No, I'm sorry, it's February 27th.
Okay, but
And
you'll
I'll put that
on.
information there, so feel free to come and join if you would like.
That sounds good. Thank you.
I don't think we have to talk about nominating yet. And then I've put some resources. If anybody has any additional coding or robotics, Amanda, if you have any of your elementary stuff or early childhood stuff to add, put any of that on there, and we can just kind of build that up. And door prizes. Do we want to
Skip social. John.
Oh, you have an update.
Yes.
Whitney does.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we sort of met via virtual, nice techie way, and we have thought about throwing out the date if anybody has any opposition to Thursday, April 26th at 5:30 at Las Delicias on Quince, and we'll have more details forthcoming, but we just wanted to go ahead and set a date and hopefully a location unless anybody sees a problem with that date.
We'll put, if you'll put the info.
I'll put the info up just to
Whitney will
save the
add
date,
it.
and then we'll have more details about
And
the
maybe
party.
even email it out in case people don't
Okay.
see that, if you don't mind.
Yes, I'll do that.
And while we're doing this, like I said, feel free to stay, ask questions. I know Shirley has a place to be, but you can go look at the robotics over there. Amanda's a great resource back there for St. George's. And please, food. I don't want to eat all that. So thank y'all for coming. John is going to do the door prize, and then we are a wrap for today.
Anybody else need a sheet, a slip?